Hello ladies, ambies and gents. I've decided to make a video about the current state of affairs in America. The reason I've taken a while is because I honestly find it hard to know where to begin. There is so much that has gone on and is going on. Needless to say though, that it has become abundantly clearer and clearer as time has gone on that the USA is fast heading towards becoming a fascist dictatorship, and what limited amount of democracy exists in the country is in real danger. If you've ever wondered what you would have done during the rise of Nazi Germany, well, whatever it is you're doing now, that's your answer. As far as I'm concerned, if you voted for and or encouraged others to vote for an administration that steals children from their parents and locks them in cages, as though they're animals, then you as good as took these children and locked them in cages yourself, and you deserve to be treated exactly as you would be if you had committed this atrocity yourself. Just as I would never want to sit down and have a rational discussion or rational debate with someone who abducted children and locked them in cages, I do not want to do so with you. I don't even care to be basically polite or civil with you. I repeat, I firmly believe people should treat those who voted for and or encouraged others to vote for this administration exactly as they would treat anyone who abducted children and locked them in cages. If you think gradualism is somehow the answer to this situation, forget it. If I could sum up the problem with gradualism in one sentence, it would be: the time you think certain people need to be given in order to abandon their prejudices is not yours to give. Just as if your child were abducted, you would want them returned unharmed to you immediately, so must the children that the US government has abducted be returned unharmed immediately. Every moment the hypothetical gradualist expects these children and their parents to wait is a precious moment of their or their children's childhood they will never have back. Gradualism not only rests upon the unfounded assumption that people's prejudices will simply fade away given time, it also assumes that it is the place of the privileged to dictate the pace of political progress. The gradualist would rather the victims of an unjust world suffer for a substantial portion, if not all, of their lives, than for those doing the victimizing to have to endure the comparatively trivial amount of suffering that comes from being challenged on their prejudices. Similarly, if you think voting more Democrats into Congress is the answer, well, perhaps in the short term this might improve things slightly, but we have to face facts. If the Democratic Party really cared about social justice, they would actively push for it, not simply advocate for slightly more benevolent forms of hierarchy. For example, if they really cared about social justice, they would advocate for full universal health care, not simply affordable care. They would advocate for proper wealth redistribution, not simply welfare programs. They also wouldn't deport over 2 million immigrants back to the dangerous places they fled to America to escape. The Democratic Party's idea of social justice is simply to put a black man or a woman at the top of an unjustifiable hierarchy. This simply gives the superficial image of diversity and tolerance rather than substantial diversity and tolerance that would necessitate improving the lives of black people, women and other marginalised groups overall. The left proper probably will and should vote Democrat in upcoming elections, but this is really just a band-aid solution to the problem, and that problem needs to be tackled at its roots through direct action. Voting to the left within a two-party system simply buys the marginalised a bit of extra time and space. It does not establish social justice. For the left proper, such voting is merely pragmatic, based upon which administration will put up the least resistance to activism. I should reiterate, Trump supporters should be treated exactly the same way anyone who abducts children would be treated. For fuck's sake, please, no more debating them or trying to find common ground with them or otherwise treating their repulsive ideology as though it's just another opinion. It's been over a year since Lacey Green embarked upon her quest to reach out and make connections with these fascist scum, and in that time these people have gotten worse, not better. And I for one am certainly not surprised. When abhorrent behaviour is rewarded rather than punished, then it should come as no surprise that this abhorrent behaviour persists. Trump supporters are scum, and they should be treated like scum. The Trump administration are scum, and they should be treated like scum. I fully support and encourage the activity of protesters, such as heckling Kirsten Nielsen in a Mexican restaurant, and I commend the Red Hen restaurant for refusing to serve Sarah Huckabee Sanders. I also commend Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn for demanding that Trump's planned visit to the UK be delayed amid this atrocity. Also commendable is the Occupy ICE movement, who are protesting ICE facilities across the US. Something else I support is the active refusal to participate in any patriotic events, such as the 4th of July. Instead of uploading images of the American flag to social media on this date, I'd suggest instead either uploading the flag of anarchism or an image of the American flag on fire and make them go viral. Let me be clear here that immigrants aren't people you have any special reason to be afraid of. Sure, an immigrant could hurt you or even kill you, but not because they're an immigrant. This behaviour isn't encoded into their genes. Research has shown that there is no reason to believe increases in immigration lead to increases in crime. You also have no reason to be afraid of immigrants stealing your job. Immigrants don't steal people's jobs. Rather, business owners hire immigrants because they can get away with paying them less, and you are angry with immigrants rather than business owners about this. Something you do have reason to be afraid of is the right wing, who are the people responsible for spreading this propaganda about immigrants and other marginalised groups, who currently present a very real threat to democracy. Trump cannot make America great again, not just because he is an evil and incompetent person, but because America has never been great. It's a country built upon white supremacy, slavery, genocide, and capitalism. In closing, I'd like to stress that I have absolutely no interest in indulging anyone who wants to have some tedious, pedantic argument about what does and does not constitute a Nazi or a fascist or anything similar. If pedantry is all you have to offer, it really only serves to demonstrate that your arguments lack any real substance, and you are trying to distract from that by leading the conversation off in a different and pointless direction. Those of you who have been saying for the past 2 years that racism, xenophobia, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, ableism, etc. are no longer issues, you were wrong, we were right. Thanks for watching, goodbye.